Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Midday Western U.S. Regional Forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. We begin first by taking a look back at the last 72 hours of total accumulated snowfall. That low-pressure system that has just been sitting and spinning off the coast of California. In fact, there's been two of them that have been working together, have really just pushed a lot of air over the Sierra Nevada mountains, and we've added a lot of snow. Zooming in here, take a look at this. Some of the snowfall amounts range anywhere between a foot and at some of the highest peaks up to 48 inches. That's 4 feet of snow we have added here to the peaks of the Sierra Nevada. So I'm excited to see how this map changes throughout the week. Now, this was through yesterday, but we've already seen our numbers here for basin average snow water content come up again. We now are between 60 and 85%, and that's what we want. We want these numbers at 80% or higher as we go into our upcoming water year. So this is, they run from April to October. That's the dry season. Let's keep an eye on these numbers. Now, overall, much of the rest of the West is looking extremely good. I've been saying this several times in these last videos. Our mountain snowpack right now looks great as we go into our drier time period. But we're going to see these numbers in California continue to climb, and what we're adding in terms of total precipitation will be added to this map. This is the last 30 days of precipitation. And if we zoom in on the West Coast, I'm just going to go back into California here. We have in the Sierra Nevada here added anywhere between 8 and in some locations over 12 inches of liquid equivalent. So it's fallen in snow, but that's how much we could get out of it when it melts, which is going to be great as it slowly melts throughout spring and early summer into our reservoirs. Now you can just take a look here at the rest of the map of California, and you'll be able to see here, right there is our 2-inch value on the color bar. Just take a look at your area and see how much snow we've got. Now, just a quick reminder, some places where we don't have good radar coverage, we're not picking up on the precipitation. And interestingly enough, there's a reason why there's not good radar coverage right there in that part of the high desert in Nevada. And part of that's due to a large base that's out there, a military base. We've been, of course, referring to it over the decades now as Area 51, but they actually must do some pretty cool stuff out there because they don't let the weather radar penetrate into that area because it could most certainly pick up on any aircraft moving in there. So anyways, a little side note there for you. But yeah, this is a great map to just take a look at how much rainfall we did get over the last month. Now, California, Southern California, we are adding quite a bit more to the precipitation numbers here as we work through our next 5 days, really over the next 2.5 days, because that cutoff low is going to take its dear sweet time moving out. And what we see here is another 3/4 of an inch, to in some locations over 2 inches of total liquid equivalent here. A lot of that falling as snow in the higher elevations. Now, I've kind of left the Pacific Northwest out of my early part of this video, and that's because they're going to have continued nice weather in the Pacific Northwest. Look at Oregon and Washington, just dry conditions here for the next 5 days. Same through the Snake River Valley, and warmer temperatures as that cutoff low stays to our south. But just checking on how much snow we're going to add to this. This is total accumulated snowfall through the next 5 days, and we can see that the southern part of the Sierra Nevada picking up another 12 to 24 inches of snow, and even getting into the transverse range here, and also the mountains that surround LA, the LA basin, possibly getting some snow at the higher peaks as well. So this cutoff low isn't going anywhere anytime soon. What do we got? We have winter storm warnings out for this area and in through here, and then this large sector in here all has a flash flood watch, and that's because this cutoff low is truly cut off. Now, when I say that, what I mean is that the circulation is completely closed. Okay, so you can see that it's completely closed low pressure circulation. Now, we often see that with high pressure cells, but to get these cutoff lows to form just is a little bit more difficult in the atmosphere to do. It's cut off also from the main flow of the jet stream, which is here and there. Now, normally when we talk about split flow, which is what the atmosphere is doing, we're talking about drought conditions in California. But this low snuck in time to prevent that from happening. And why it's not moving, there's nothing pushing it from this side or from this side or even down here to get it to move east anytime soon. And the fact that there's another low that's sitting out here that is almost closed off is the reason for that. Sorry, that wasn't thunder. Apparently my kids are doing gymnastics upstairs. Anyways, let's keep going forward with this forecast. As we look at what this cutoff low has given us, take a look at this. The video over there on the right. Andy, thank you for sharing this widely spread on social media. Great view here of some rotation within one of the updrafts of one of these cumulus clouds. And so this is a unique feature that we can sometimes get when we have such a tight circulation in the upper levels of the atmosphere as well. So what I'm talking about, look over there at that map on the left. I know it's kind of hard to look away from the rotation on the right, But what I've got plotted for you here is something called storm relative helicity. And yesterday, as the storms were moving through the Central Valley of California, just south of Fresno is where this video was shot, and we can see that our storm relative helicity values were very high there. Now, what is helicity? We can think of helicity, think of it like a helix. So when you think about a DNA strand having a helical nature, whenever we get the atmosphere having such tight circulation both at the surface and aloft, it is easy to stretch that rotation and create finer and finer circulations. And that's what you got over here. Now, technically, this isn't a tornado because it, as far as I know, didn't touch ground. But you can see the main rain shaft. See right there? A lot of rain out from underneath this one particular cell. Beautiful video, Andy. Thank you for sharing it. Incredible. I appreciate it. Now, from here, watch what we've got over the next, 60 hours here. We're working our way through Wednesday now, into Thursday morning, afternoon. We can see that that cutoff low is just going to take its dear sweet time getting out of Southern California. And while it is sitting there and spinning, the southern half of the state has the potential for adding quite a bit of precipitation. So that's what we're looking at here as we just go out over the next 60 hours. When does this finally get out of the way? It won't be until we get past Thursday before it is finally gone. And to show you that, I got to zip over to the European model here. So let's play this one forward and stop it where we know we've seen already. So this is through Thursday afternoon. There we go. Large ridge of high pressure. Remember the cutoff nature to this, right? So big high pressure cell here. As we play this forward, this is now Thursday night into Friday morning, Friday afternoon and evening. Finally, as we get our way into Saturday morning, that low is gone. Now at this point, big high pressure cell comes pushing against this side of the Rocky Mountains. So adding quite a bit of snow to the leeward side, technically, of the Rockies here coming out of central Canada. But still, northwest, we're on a dry streak here through the beginning of the weekend. And our next chance at seeing some precip into, well, much of the West Coast, but specifically the Northwest, won't be until next Monday afternoon and evening, and that's not much to talk about here. Not much at all. And as I continue to play this out into next Tuesday and Wednesday, there's our next couple of chances at bringing in some precip into the Northwest. But again, when you see the blues here, this is all at very high elevation in terms of snow. Maybe possibly some Columbia Basin rain here, but it's very difficult to get rain in here this time of year. So that's it. It's the cutoff low, and then we're going to wait for systems to come in here early next week before we see some precip arrive in the Pacific Northwest. So let's go from there and just take a look at week 2 only. So this is only week 2, so from the 14th to the 21st, what our precipitation anomalies look like. And we can see that after that cutoff low gets through, overall a drier than normal picture is being painted for much of the West Coast. All right, what about the pattern? Well, this is day 10. Why drier weather? Well, you can see the large ridge building in here by the time we get out to the 17th, and the flow has got to go around that. So the problem is when the flow is coming in from this direction, that is just not the right direction to be bringing in abundant amounts of Pacific moisture. As long as this deep trough stays in place south of the Hudson Bay, this pattern is going to be the name of the game for a while. And as I stretch this out to the 21st, you can still see the same thing. Now beyond this, the thing we're going to watch is, will this elongated trough under which down here the subtropical branch of the jet stream is moving, will this bring in a bit more zonal flow into California, therefore increase precipitation chances as we get out to the end of April and into early May? I'm going to watch it carefully. Usually what happens is the models wash that feature out, so we don't get to resolve it very well as we look out here at day 14 in the forecast. So this is just speculative right now, but it's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on, all right? What will be changing will be this map. This is growing degree day anomalies since the beginning of March. And we can see here that our numbers in the western part of the United States have been below average because of the cooler, cloudier, and wetter weather we've been experiencing. So normally we could accumulate this time of year up to about 15 GDUs a day. So this puts us about, we could call it a week to maybe a week and a half behind the normal rate of accumulation of our heat units. But temperatures will be changing. I'm going to show you what that's going to look like here. So this is departure from normal high temperatures throughout the next 6 days. As we play this forward, so here's today on Tuesday. Wednesday, the cutoff low is still sitting here, but look at the Northwest. Yep, very warm compared to average. Beautiful days coming up here. This is now getting into Thursday. The cutoff is finally moving into Southern California and over toward Arizona. Look at the Northwest. Wow. I mean, this is fantastic. As we go from there into Friday, into Saturday, big cold air invasion comes through Montana, near normal temperatures with a little bit of a warm bias in Northern California. Things finally start to regain normal temperatures here for much of California. And as we start off next week, this is Sunday's departure from normal. Very cold air sneaking through the midsection of the United States here. Working our way out into Monday, there it is. So the west recovers. The central part of the United States drops off very cold. And to show you how long that's going to last, here's days 5 through 10. So as the bigger ridge builds up here, that allows temperatures to go back over toward normal out west. And you can see that lasts all the way out to day 10 through 15 as well, as the midsection of the country up into the Canadian prairies dives off into some much colder than average weather. That seems to be the name of the game through the third week of the month of April. As we look longer term, the models, like I said, seem to be pulling the zonal flow into the Pacific. And that's why we see the wetter than average conditions coming in through here and kind of a mixed bag when you look out in the west part of the United States. In other words, the models are really struggling understanding what our precipitation patterns are going to be like. Now, what is this time period over? This is April 17th through May 17th. So this is our new European weekly forecast, April 17th through May 17th. One thing is certain, the models cannot let go of the cold bias here because of the snowpack. Do you notice how all the cold stripes here across the western part of the United States are sitting on top of the Cascades or the Sierra Nevada or wherever we have mountains in the Rockies? So I don't believe this is going to be a continuation of colder weather. I think we're going to actually moderate quite a bit in our temperatures here as we progress through April into May, maybe recover some of the lost heat that we've needed to have early in the season. So overall, I think that's a relatively positive picture to be painting for California, with the exception of getting rain in late April and early May coming in to California and on certain crops is not good. Some crops it's fantastic, but certain crops we can actually have some water damage from some late season rainfall. We'll keep an eye on it, keep reporting back to you. Look forward to giving you my long range update tomorrow. Have a good one. We'll talk to you then.